Victoria sat alone at the restaurant table, trying not to cry as Christmas lights twinkled around her. Her blind date arranged by a well-meaning friend was now 45 minutes late. She'd received the text 20 minutes ago. Sorry, can't make it. Emergency came up. She knew what that really meant. He'd seen her, decided she wasn't worth his time, and left. Victoria wore her favorite red dress, the one she'd spent 2 weeks' salary on, because her friend had insisted this date was the one. Now she sat alone on Christmas Eve, surrounded by happy couples, feeling like the biggest fool in the world. She was gathering her things to leave when a little girl appeared beside her table. She couldn't have been more than 3 years old, with curly brown hair, and wearing a sparkly red dress that matched Victoria's almost exactly. "Hi," the little girl said brightly. "You look sad. Are you okay?" Victoria quickly wiped her eyes. "I'm fine, sweetie. Are you here with your family?" The little girl nodded and pointed to a table across the restaurant where a man sat alone, looking at his phone with a worried expression. "That's my daddy. He's sad too. His date didn't come. I'm sorry to hear that. Can I sit with you? Just for a minute. You have the same dress as me, and that's special." Victoria couldn't help but smile. "What's your name, Sophia?" "What's yours, Victoria?" "That's a princess name." Sophia climbed up onto the chair across from Victoria. "My daddy says I'm a princess too." "Your daddy sounds very smart." The man Sophia had pointed to was now walking over, looking apologetic. He was handsome, dark hair, kind eyes, wearing a navy suit and clearly embarrassed. "Sophia, I'm so sorry," he said to Victoria. "My daughter has absolutely no sense of boundaries. Sophia, you can't just sit at strangers' tables." "But Daddy, she's sad like you. And look, we have the same dress. That means we're supposed to be friends." The man met Victoria's eyes, and something passed between the mutual recognition of disappointment, loneliness, and the absurdity of being stood up on Christmas Eve. "I'm James," he said, "and I apologize for my daughter's matchmaking attempts. I'm Victoria, and honestly, she's the first person who's been nice to me all evening." Victoria looked at Sophia. "Thank you for noticing I was sad." "You're welcome. Are you sad because your date didn't come too?" Victoria felt her face heat. "How did you?" "Because you keep looking at your phone, and you keep looking at the door, and you look like you're going to cry. That's what Daddy looks like when he's waiting for someone who doesn't come." James closed his eyes in embarrassment. "Sophia, we talked about this. Some things we notice but don't say out loud. But it's true. You were sad, and now she's sad, and you're both alone. So why don't you have dinner together?" There was a long pause. Victoria and James looked at each other, both clearly weighing the mortification of their situations against the very practical suggestion of a 3-year-old. "I know this is completely bizarre," James said finally, "but would you like to join us for dinner? I have a table for 2 that's really too small. You have a table for 2 that's too big." Sophia clearly isn't going to let this go until we at least sit at the same table. Victoria surprised herself by laughing. "Why not? This evening can't get any worse, and honestly, Sophia's right. We do have matching dresses, which is clearly fate. They combined their tables, and what should have been the worst Christmas Eve turned into something unexpectedly wonderful." James was a widower. His wife had died 2 years ago, and tonight was his first attempt at dating since. His sister had set him up with a friend who'd cancelled at the last minute via text. "I almost didn't come," James admitted. "But Sophia was so excited about me going on an adventure that I felt like I had to try. My friend convinced me this guy was perfect for me," Victoria said. "She showed me his photo, told me about his job, said we had everything in common. Turns out He took one look at me in person and decided all those common interests didn't matter. Then he's an idiot, Sophia, who'd been coloring on the kids' menu, looked up. Daddy, did your date not come because she saw you and didn't like you? Maybe, sweetheart. That's dumb. You're the best daddy in the world. She's missing out. James's eyes got misty. Thank you, baby. And Victoria's date is dumb too. She's really pretty and nice, and she didn't get mad when I sat at a table without asking. Victoria felt her own tears threatening. Thank you, Sophia. You're very sweet. Over dinner, Victoria learned that James ran a small architecture firm. He was devoted to Sophia, still grieving his wife, and terrified of dating but trying because he didn't want to be alone forever. Victoria told him about her job as a teacher, her love of books, her own fear that she'd never find someone who saw past her quiet demeanor to the person underneath. You're not quiet, James observed. You've been talking with Sophia for an hour, about everything from dinosaurs to why the sky is blue. You're just quiet with people who don't value what you have to say. That's actually really insightful. My wife used to say that. She said I only talked with people worth talking to, and everyone else thought I was shy. But I wasn't shy, I was selective. After dinner, as they prepared to leave, Sophia took Victoria's hand. Can we see you again, please? I like you, Victoria. Looked at James. I like her too. And honestly, this was the best blind date I've been on in years. Same. Would you like to exchange numbers? Maybe have coffee sometime? With Sophia as our chaperone? I'd love that. Over the following months, Victoria became a regular part of James and Sophia's life. She helped with bedtime stories and weekend park visits. She and James dated slowly, carefully, always with Sophia's needs first. And somewhere between reading picture books and sharing pizza and watching Sophia's dance recitals, they fell in love. I need to tell you something, James said 6 months after that Christmas Eve. When I saw you sitting alone at that table, crying, I almost didn't let Sophia go over to you. I was worried about bothering you, about making your bad evening worse. But Sophia insisted. And now I can't imagine my life without you in it. I'm glad she insisted. I'm glad she saw someone sad and decided to do something about it instead of walking past. A year after Sophia had sat down at Victoria's table, James proposed at the same restaurant. At the same table, with Sophia present and holding the ring. Victoria, you were alone on Christmas Eve, having the worst night. Sophia sat down and changed everything. Not just for you, for all of us. You brought joy back into our house. You showed me I could love again without forgetting the past. You taught Sophia that family isn't just blood. Will you marry us? At their wedding, Sophia served as flower girl and gave a toast. Victoria was sad, and I sat with her. Because we had matching dresses. Then Daddy sat with her too. Then we all had dinner together. Then we became a family. So if you see someone who's sad, you should sit with them, because maybe they'll become your family too. Sometimes the worst dates lead to the best relationships. Sometimes a 3-year-old's wisdom changes everything. Sometimes matching red dresses on Christmas Eve are exactly the sign you need. And sometimes the person who sits down at your table uninvited becomes the family you didn't know you were. Waiting for . If this story touched your heart, please like and share it. Subscribe for more stories about unexpected connections and Christmas miracles. Leave a comment about when something terrible turned into something beautiful. Your stories inspire us all.